morning, everybody. I'm Lizzie Jones, and this week I'm your host for Papertrey Inc.'s Make It Monday. This week I'm encouraging you to look into your packaging dies and find a new use or a new way to use them by incorporating the packaging dies into your cards. So let's get started. Okay, so to begin here, I'm planning to stencil this background. So I'm using a piece of Post-it tape just to mask off the front of the card from the back, so I don't accidentally end up with any transfer on the back of my card base. And I'm just going to adhere the card base to the stencil with a little bit of washi tape, and I've just played with it a little with my hands to make sure it's not quite so sticky so it won't tear the card base. Now I just want kind of a subtle tone-on-tone background here, so I'm going to be using Aquamist ink on my Aquamist card base just to kind of give it a little bit of texture without being too distracting. And I'm just going to go over the entire card base with the ink here. Alright, once I am all finished, I'm just going to take that off. You can see it's really nice and subtle, and I did not, like I said, I don't want it to be I don't want it to overshadow the focal point of the card, so I kept it nice and light. Now the card base is pretty much done, so I'm going to go ahead and put it aside while I work on the next step. So here's the packaging die I'm going to use. This is from my Hinged gift box die, the Christmas windows. I'm going to use one of these windows to create a shaker element. So I'm just cutting it from a rectangle of cardstock. It's about 2.5 by 3 3/4 inches. And I'm just going to punch the window straight out of the middle of it. So once that's all removed, all the little bits and pieces are removed, I'm going to adhere this to a piece of clear cardstock. I'm just using 1/8" score tape around the edges. And I like score tape because it gives a really nice solid hold, and you definitely don't have to worry about it coming apart. So I'm just going all the way around. It's not critical that this sticks completely to the acetate because all the filler is going to be underneath it, but just it looks nicer when it's all nice and flat. Now on the inner bits, I'm going in with multi-medium matte just to make sure that those sort of lay nice and flat. I'm just adding little bitty dots of adhesive on sort of the wider areas of the words. You could also use a Xyron, the sort of thing I would normally do, but I honestly just didn't think about it beforehand. So here I'm just using a piece of clear cardstock that's cut to the same size as the white cardstock, and I've set that aside underneath a block to press it flat. So while that's drying, I'm just going to stamp the other elements that I want to use on the card. These are from the Seasonal Borders Winter. I'm doing the bow here. The detail I did first in Pure Poppy. I like doing the darker color first. It makes it easier to see to line up the lighter layers. So first in Pure Poppy, and then the rest of the larger image of the bow, I'm just adding here in Pale Peony. So get that all nice and stamped out. And then I'm also going to use some of the foliage images, some of the pine boughs, and those I'm stamping in New Leaf. And I'm going to do a couple of those because I need a couple of them to sort of get the look I'm going for. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut those next. Here I'm just using washi tape to secure the dies in place as I roll them through the machine. It just gives it a nice, it makes it easier and it holds it still. So there's those, get those all die cut out. And next I'm going to adhere the frame. This is one of the pierced feature frames. This is the medium size, and I've already cut it from Pure Poppy, the Bitty Big Pure Poppy paper. This is the plaid one. I just cut it on a bias, so it's got kind of like a gingham-y kind of look to it. And I'm just going to center it there. There we go. And like I said, I'm going to make this a shaker element. So I'm using foam tape around the outside edges of that whole piece. And I'm just going to cut it, and this is where you need to make sure that your adhesive comes all the way together on the edges, by the way, because this is what's going to keep the filler in place. So I'm using this Buffalo Snow. I got it from like a big box craft store, and I'm going to use a little bit of that, and I'm going to mix in some coarse glitter as well, just to make it sparkle a little bit. And you don't need a ton. In fact, I probably put a little bit more in there than I needed to, but it's a pretty big shaker box, a pretty big area, so I wanted to make sure that it would look nice and full. But I'm just going to peel off the adhesive backing for the foam tape and adhere it right over the top of all of that fluffy stuff. So it'll get nice and trapped, so it won't get out. Everybody can see the glitter, but you won't get any nasty notes, people mad at you for sending them glitter for Christmas. So there's the little shaker box, and all I need to do is dress it up a little bit. So I'm going to sort of arrange things first, make sure that they're sort of situated the way that I want them, and then I will add my adhesive. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and give these pine boughs a little bit of dimension. So I'm just going to curve them a little bit with my fingers, give them a little bit of texture, I guess, or a little bit of depth, and then I'm going to use score tape just on the very sort of the tips, or the base, I guess, of each of these boughs to just secure down that end and give the ends of the branches a little bit of freedom. So I'm ever so lightly tapping them down here just to make sure that if I want to move them, I still can. So there I've actually pressed them down. And make a couple of adjustments before adding a little bit of foam tape to the bow and tucking that right in there at the top corner. So there you have it, a shaker element thanks to a packaging die. So now it's your turn. Pull out those tags, boxes, and other packaging dies and see what sorts of unique, interesting elements you can create by using packaging dies on your cards. This has been Lizzie Jones for Paper Tray Inc.'s Make It Monday. Thanks for joining me, everybody.